to another episode of Stories Worth Telling. We are live today with Kerri Denney. Man, if you guys don't know Kerri Denney's name, you're probably either not in the real estate market, or you're not affiliated with the military. But if you are either of those things, then I'm sure that your name, you've heard her name multiple times. Kerri, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for your time today.
Of course, no problem. I'm happy to be here and be in business with you, Patrick. And you, even though it doesn't look like it at the moment.
Yeah, the COVID has definitely taken its toll, and I'm quickly finding out from my wife's clients that she's crucial. So.
Yes, you should be essential. For sure.
Well, man, I'm thankful for basically your time, and because I know that you're super busy, which is a good problem to have, especially in your industry, my industry, things like that.
Yeah.
But what I love is basically in a short time frame, you have quickly become one of the top realtors here in Colorado Springs. And, I think we've talked about the numbers several times on this show. There's 4,700 realtors just in Colorado Springs alone, probably double that in Colorado altogether, and even with being the number one housing market, it's still very tough. And so you went from, was a fourth grade teacher?
Yes.
To full-time realtor. Yes. And not only just full-time realtor, but kicking butt full-time realtor. So tell us, what got you initially into becoming a realtor, as a teacher, and then, I don't want you to necessarily give away any of your secrets, but I mean, just kind of talk about how did that transition, and then how did in 2 years, how did you sell as many homes as you did, and are continuing to sell?
Sure. So my story is actually pretty interesting. I kind of became a realtor on a whim, but I feel like it was definitely meant to be. I had a friend that was thinking about going into the real estate business, and she said, well, I don't want to do the classes by myself. And I said, oh, I'll do it with you. Why not? I'll do it on the side. And that's literally the story. And then it was kind of interesting because I went through the class really fast. I actually have a master's degree that I did online. So I did the school online. It was super easy. I actually have a school principal license on top of a teacher license.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I don't know that about me. So yeah, the school was really easy. I kind of flew right by it. Flew right through it, I should say. And then I got out of school, and then I remember, because I was just going to still teach and do it on the side and things like that, because being a school administrator was always my goal. And then I remember sitting with my husband at Old Chicago, so weird, I have this vivid memory, saying, imagine if I could just take a year off and just be a realtor, like just try it out and see how it goes and things like that. In fact, if you look up my business name in the state of Colorado, if you try to find my business name, if you look up Dream Big Home Team, I do own that, the trademark. But if you try to find it in an LLC or anything, you won't find it, because my LLC is actually Turnkey Teacher, because I did not think that I was going to be, actually doing so well in real estate. It was pretty crazy. So I asked my accountant if I can change that. And she's like, that's too difficult, and she doesn't want to do the work. And she's like,
Sure.
oh, cool. So just do it. Just keep it. So that's my business name if you ever need to find me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm privy to that, right? As I know that, but maybe not everyone else. Guys, thank you so much for those of you that are tuning in. We've got Denise and Lane basically commenting hashtag live to let us know that they're watching live. So if you are watching this, go ahead and just type in hashtag live so we know if you're a participant. Feel free to also chime in any questions that you guys have. And then if you guys are not currently already, definitely make sure that you hit the subscribe and like button on the YouTube channel. If you're watching this via Facebook, you can catch that on Something for Everything. So, man, I love the fact that you basically were one, basically, you didn't look. Did you look at the market and the statistics to realize that like it may be difficult, that it may take a while, that did any of those things maybe ever cross your mind for maybe people who have been thinking about getting their license for a while?
It did. It's funny. I actually remember being in like a Facebook group for new real estate agents, and I was in there and I said, "Hey," because I was terrified. I was a teacher for 10 years since 2007, and so I was terrified. And I was like, "Hey, do you think I can make $40,000 a year as a realtor?" And people laughed at me, and they were like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, you'll be fine," because that's how much I made as a teacher, and that's public information. You look that up. So yeah, people. So at that point, I was like, I'm going to go for it, and it was a kind of a shock to everyone. But my school principal, Trisha, she and I are very close because I did an internship for my principal license with her, so we grew pretty close with each other. And she said, that doesn't surprise me one bit because you have the personality for it. So I never really doubted myself in that way because I just had a lot of confidence that I can do it. And when I set my mind to something, I do it.
Sure.
Um, and she just said, I think you can do this. And she was always, I always cared about her opinion, like as far as being a teacher in the classroom, and she was really inspirational to me.
Hmm.
So when she said, you can do this, I'm like, all right, cool, I can do this.
Nice.
And so I just kind of dove in, and I actually sold my first house to my first clients before I even stopped being a teacher. So I actually
Oh.
showed up they were what we call mail out closing. So they didn't have a traditional closing. Of course, nobody does now with COVID, but so we mailed their packet to them, and they signed it in New Mexico where they were moving from. So I went to my brokerage to turn in all the paperwork that I had, and I was in my field day outfit. So I had my King Elementary shirt on, my sunburned face, and I took a picture with my very first commission check, and it was really cool. So I still have that picture somewhere. It's gonna pop up in memories because it was actually, I think, 2 years ago this week. I think it might be today. I don't know. I got to ask my clients because they know the date, and they're actually getting ready to sell and using me as their realtor. And that's a great feeling that my very first clients, and I stayed in touch throughout all this time. And
Hmm.
that's Jane and Dennis. Big shout out. I told them they're always going to be special to me, and I'll never forget them because they're my first clients that believed in me, and
Sure.
literally brand new. So
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. And I think that as when you're new to kind of business and entrepreneurialism and stuff like that, it's really hard to learn to grasp that, to have that confidence in yourself, because you could be very confident and still maybe have a lot of self-doubt trying and transitioning into something brand new.
yeah,
Um,
yes.
Big shout out to Shauna. Hi, Shauna. Thanks for letting us know that you're watching live. And so I love the story. I love how you got into it, and just and so has it been 2 years, 2.5 years now?
Only 2 years.
2 years. And how many homes have you sold?
Like 150.
Holy cow,
Yeah.
man.
It's,
So
I sold 81 last year. So, yeah.
okay, so for those of you who are watching this, maybe you don't understand. The average realtor within their first 2 years is selling, if they're lucky, 1 to 2 homes per year.
Oh,
Okay.
oh my God.
She just said that she's sold 150 in 2 years, guys. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so funny because one of my big things is taking care of people like you, Patrick. Same
yes.
thing.
Yeah.
And I saw this one realtor like send a Mother's Day basket to this buyer they had or whatever, which was really nice. But it's like, man, I was like, I don't even know if I could successfully do that because I have so many clients. It would take me days. So I do a lot of things through the mail and virtually, and especially right
Absolutely.
now with COVID, I wouldn't risk dropping anything off anyone's house. But for Mother's Day, I did just a Starbucks gift card, and I
I
was like,
saw that in the group.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's incredible, like how generous you are for your clients and how much you give back to them. I know I've been privy to be able to attend some of the events like the movie night for the appreciation night, the gift cards, and then I think you also partnered up with somebody to give away a massage.
Yes, I need to take that away. I
So
can do it the next day, and everybody me that I'm like, that's how I am. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just get so engrossed in taking care of my clients and making sure I'm meeting deadlines that sometimes I need a little nudge. Don't forget to do this. But it
yeah,
doesn't matter because somebody's getting a free massage. It doesn't
right.
matter when they get it.
Yeah. And I love the fact that it's not just your clients that you take care of,
Mm.
but it's your in network, your professional contacts, the people that you work with, so being able to bring on like Lauren, who was new to business,
Love one.
and be able to turn around and add her part of or add her business to something that you wanted to do for your clients, so you incorporated that,
Yeah.
so it's that type of thinking that makes people want to say, yeah, she's if she takes care of people like that, why wouldn't I want to buy or sell my home from her? You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And of course, you have Denise, who's fantastic. So, all these the different partners and stuff like that, that you establish, and I'm sure the list goes on and on of all the people we could probably spend here for like 3 hours just talking about all the business partners and referral partners and stuff like that.
One of my favorites is probably my friend Lisa, which I don't think you know her, Patrick. You're gonna have to get to know her.
Yeah, please.
She's my house cleaner for my clients. So I have a lot of perks to working with our team,
Yeah.
and one of them is house cleaning. And she she's our daughter's mom seemed cheer team. That's how I knew her, and I was like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
here. And so I was like, let me help you. And so my assistant Jesse and I took her out to lunch. Jesse's like my right hand man. She comes with
Yeah.
all of the decision making and things like that. I'm like, what do you think? She's just my other half of my brain. And
Mm.
so we go with her and we meet and we have lunch. And I said, I want you to help me by cleaning client houses for my clients. And she started to cry.
Oh,
And
wow.
a couple days later, she literally called me and says, "You changed my life."
Oh,
And
that's
I was
amazing.
like, "Oh my God, really?" Like, you're just handing me business, literally handing me business. And I'm like thinking, "Oh man, I'm just so blessed to be able to do that for people."
Sure.
I
Yeah.
mean, the massages, I could have gone to Massage Envy and said, I'm just going to buy gift certificates for massage. But no, I went
Yeah.
to two local gals in my neighborhood and got them through them. So,
Yeah.
like,
Well,
all
yeah.
business, sure.
No, and it's incredible, and obviously I can attest, to that because, you were willing to give me a chance, right? For a lot of, when I first launched in the business, and um, I mean, it's been crazy, right? Because 7 months ago, I had no idea, where I was going to get business, how I was going to get business, if I was going to be any good at what I do, and now, um, I get an opportunity to bring you back on here and hopefully, get to reciprocate and, from time to time, hopefully get to send business back to you and stuff like that. And so, I think that at least from my perspective, what I've seen, is that you do this amazing job of building community and relationships that are built for longevity, not for the short term, not just for the immediate now,
Mhm,
which is kind of it's different, especially in your industry, right? Where a lot of people are just focused on this quick turn and burn.
mhm,
And, a lot of people, they may only have one or two homes that they're selling within the first 2 years and they're holding on to those looking for more. Whereas you can do 150 and still know exactly what's going on with all 150 people. I think that says a
yeah,
lot about you.
yeah.
And so let's talk about, dream big home team, within 2 years, most people usually are still finding and navigating their way through their own team that they've joined, but
Mhm.
you have your own team within this short amount of time frame. So what does that look like? Who's involved? What are your processes? How are you taking, you know, um, how is this mentorship role and being a teacher prepared you for all of this?
Great question. So I love my team. And I have a lot of people. Now, I started out as an individual agent, and then I was on a team,
Sure.
and now I have my own team. So I've literally done a lot of things as far as, agent roles and things like that. So having my own team, I wanted it to be different. A lot of realtors, their mindset is all about the dollar signs.
Mm,
Every listing or every split is what we call it, should be mostly going to the team. And I just don't believe in that. I believe in building up my agents for sustainability so I can keep them on my team so it doesn't look like, I have all these random people on my team all the time. It
sure.
happens.
Sure.
And so I've had a couple of people leave my team, and that happens all the time. And at
Oh
first,
yeah.
I was real butthurt about it. But now, it makes me thankful for what I call my OGs.
Mm,
So I have this group of girls that have been on my team since the beginning, and we've added people, and then people have left, and they're all great agents. The people that have left, there's no hard feelings there or anything. Everybody's
sure.
got to do what they want to do for them, and
Absolutely.
but I feel that this original group is meant to be my team.
Mm,
That doesn't mean we're not open to adding more people, because we are, as long as they mesh with us. The
sure.
thing that's different with my team is that and I did not know any of them before. The only one I knew before was Jessie, because she was my client. She bought a house with me last July.
Okay.
And she lives across the street from me. A lot of my clients like to live next by me, by the way. um, but yeah, that worked out really well. So she was the only one I knew, right?
Okay.
So then I met Heather, Sarah, Bridget, Sandra, and we all just kind of connected with each other. We
Sure.
just all connected with each other. And I just, we're friends before we're colleagues. And I take a different approach, kind of like how I do with my clients, is I'm more into the relationship aspect of it. And yeah, there's been months where no one on my team sold a thing, and I'm the only one doing, sales.
Mm,
And a lot of teams will say, well, if you don't do this, you don't get this, and things like that. And yeah, that's probably good business practices. But for me, I'm thankful that my girls are there for me when I need them. Like yesterday, I was out showing homes, and I had a listing that got an offer, and the deadline was super quick. And I had to go, my clients were like, we need you to go over the offer with us. And I'm like, okay, but I can't at this second. So I called Heather, and I'm like, Heather, are you busy? And she's like, I'm not going to tell you what she said. I'll tell you off. But
okay.
anyway, she's like, I'm almost done. And so I'm like, all right, I need you to call my clients and go over this offer with them. And she's like, okay, I'm on it. She calls the client, she calls the realtor, verifies the fund, that they're well qualified, did her due diligence, my due diligence, really.
Mm,
Didn't bat an eye. We're all there for each other. We have a group chat that we just talk all day long on about, I don't even know what half the time, because I'm so busy. I can't read it a lot of times. But yeah, we talk about all kinds of things. I'm upset about my husband or whatever,
sure.
I love that. I just love hanging out with them. And
Awesome.
me, that has held our team stronger than glue.
Yeah, so it's almost like more of a family, environment, that happens to do business together.
Right.
So no,
Yeah.
I love that, and it's empowering each other within the group. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
no, I think a lot of people, especially in the realtor world, you hear of a lot of people who basically, they've joined a team, or some of the people who are independent, like, oh, I used to have a team, or I used to be on a team and I'll never do it again, and things like that. So it's good to see that, because my personal philosophy is that, I want to be successful with people I care about, people that I like,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know,
And that's the thing. I mean, I've had people that said, being on a team isn't for me. Or, I don't fit well with your team. And I respect them 100% for doing that.
sure,
I really do. And that's the thing. If you don't get along with us, then you're not going to feel comfortable, because we're so close.
sure,
And I think that we have to find the right fits in order to, grow our team. I'm not about money and numbers. It's just not who I am.
Mm.
I have to have people tell me, you sold this many houses. I'm like, I did. I just don't know, because I'm just not that kind of person. I just care more about people. And you asked me about teaching and how it's built me into being a mentor and coach on my team.
Yeah.
I just I feel like I have the ability to kind of identify what the issue is with my, if they need help and they're like, I don't know why I'm not getting clients, let's say, for example.
Sure.
Know how I say, okay, give me a list of what you do, and then I can help them identify. Because that was one of my strengths as a teacher, is that I could like pick something up right away and be like, okay, all right, I know what you're doing wrong. Let's fix it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then being able to kind of allow them to take that, and then, also expanding that, like, you can't be Kerri 2.0. You still have to be yourself, but I can show you the things that I've done, but you put your twist on it, bring your personality, and allow that to shine through. So I
Mhm.
think, a lot of that, being a teacher really just kind of set you up to be a great mentor, and man, I know it seems almost like 3 or 4 times a week I see a post as I'm scrolling through Facebook that says our team sold another one, or you've got a collage of like 6 of them that you sold in like the last week. So it's awesome to see, honestly, to be able to see all that stuff. I know, um the industry that you're in, it's just, there's a lot of competition, and so a lot of people kind of treat it as such,
Oh,
and that's wrong or right. I'm not here to judge or make that decision, but I see it, right? Especially because you know me, and I've built a lot of my network based off of that, but
right.
um I love the fact that you were the first one to kind of come around and say, you know what, I'm just gonna send you some referrals, and you just take care of my clients, and as long as you do that, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
you know
Well,
and
here's the
so
thing, I mean, a lot of times I'm happy to say a lot. If you see me post under contract close, blah blah blah, it is for me to allow that person their chance to shine, that they just did a big major accomplishment.
sure.
Allows me to thank them publicly. You trusted me and my team to get this done, and we did it, or my team member, or whoever it is.
Hmm.
But ultimately, I like other people to know, or I like my clients to know that, every time I sell a house, that's more people I can help in the long run. It's
Right.
more small businesses I can support. If I don't have clients, I can't refer them to anybody.
Right.
Things I can't refer them to my stager or whatever. I can't refer people if I don't have business. So every time somebody buys and sells with me, with our team, you are contributing to somebody else's small business, because we partner with so many small businesses because we love growing, building each other up. It's just something that I'm very passionate about. And when I remember going on principal interviews or assistant principal, and I was very discouraged about that whole process. That's a very competitive field, because there's only 2 positions per school,
Mm,
and that's it.
yeah.
Yeah. So I remember people asking me, why do you want to be a principal? And I would say, because I want to make a difference on a grander scale.
Mm,
And I feel like, because I can make a difference in the classroom, but I'm only affecting 25 kids. If I was the school principal, I was affecting 700, right? Let's
right.
for example. I guess at that time I didn't realize, obviously I didn't know, but now looking back, making a difference on a grander scale is what I'm doing now. And this is what I was meant to happen.
Definitely. I mean, I look at maybe your sphere, right? As you guys use the terminology in your industry,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you could probably turn around and say that, I have somebody in this industry, I have 2 or 3 people in this industry, you know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
and you try to divvy it up as much as possible, right?
Dude.
And
Yes.
and I like that, because some people were like, "Oh, I'm good. I have my one realtor. I have my one insurance guy." And the thing is that you just never know who people are going to resonate with. You never know who who might be a better fit, or, having a lot of that emotional intelligence to say, you know what, I think that this person may pair up with you, but again, maybe they're going through some stuff, and so you just never know. So I love the fact that you try to find that balance, you know what I mean, to make sure that everybody is incorporated, everybody's involved, there's plenty of business to go around. And I think, and so for me, what I've learned is that business quickly weeds out who I should and shouldn't be working with, because I have that whole collaboration over competition type mentality, and I know that you do as well. And, for anybody that kind of has the opposite, like, oh, it's just competition, if somebody else is in my industry, I don't want to work with them, and blah, 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 or I don't want to have to compete with them. Cool. Well, then you probably shouldn't be in my sphere. You know what I mean? So I like.
Well, and I'll tell you this. If Denise is still watching, this is a big shout out to Denise, because I have multiple lenders and I have different lenders for different things. One of my lenders, I use Adam. He gets all the, people with maybe credit issues, that he may be able to help them.
Sure.
Denise, for example, if I send her somebody, she can say, give them to Adam because maybe he can help them. Instead of trying to, or I've had people before where they're like, I got a lower rate with Jim Beam over here, right? I got a lower rate with him. And Denise, her first reaction or her first sentence, and I know her so well, I know exactly what she's going to say. She says, give me the fee sheet. That's what she says. Wants the fee sheet. Fine, Denise, we'll get you the fee sheet. So we get her the fee sheet and she looks at it and she goes, yeah, it looks legit. I can't beat it. Have them go with them. That's what I love about her. And that's why I only have people in my sphere that are like that. And Tony is another lender I use. She's the same way. Same way. She's
Love
like,
it.
if they go with someone else, they go with someone else. It is
Sure.
what it is.
Yeah. Well, and I love that, right? Because, I mean, shoot, I met with 125 realtors since July. And it's crazy, right? And people ask me all the time, like, so how does that work, right? And it's, I had somebody kind of say, like, well, don't you think that you have enough lenders in your network? And I said, if I'm helping you close sales, if I'm helping you sell more homes, if I'm helping you coach your team in terms of maybe going back, because maybe you're busy, if I can come in and help, but longevity wise, my goal is for any realtor that touches base with me when I take care of their client, that they don't think of any other realtor. I don't steal from Paul to pay Mary. It's not one of those situations. I have a tracking Excel sheet that has the names of all the clients that I've ever been referred to by realtors, and they stay, and I don't move them around or anything like that. And and I try to be I try to help on that marketing side, and try to make you stand out in different ways, so not everybody is duplicating the same practices, or that we're not trying to incorporate different stuff. It's all trying to be completely different with based off of the individual or the team, kind of whatever fits and makes sense for that model. And so, what I've learned is that a lot of people, they just automatically hear, like, oh, you've met with 130 realtors. No, I'm good. You know what I mean? But then on the other hand, I hear a lot of people and they're like, wow, so you actually helped sell 13 homes as an insurance guy in the last 7 months? That's who I want to work with.
Exactly.
How are you doing that? Like, tell me, teach me, because I only sold 4 homes last year, and so, and it's not so much that I know what you do. I mean, yeah, like I get it. I deal with the insurance side of stuff, but it's ultimately just kind of going back and maybe fulfilling, or creating those things that maybe somebody who's new, maybe they don't understand, or maybe who's somebody who's been experienced has kind of forgotten about, as they've been focusing on so many other things. So it's kind of just revisiting. I'm definitely not reinventing the wheel by any means, but I think I am rehammering maybe some of these things that people should have done, and people that maybe they don't have time to really do that. And so I've kind of made that process a little bit simpler. So I love the fact that that's the mentality, is that, we can work with other people, a lot of people in similar industries, and still have enough to be able to share that around.
Yep.
I think that's huge. So
I think it's huge. Yeah, for sure.
let's see, we've got Sharon says hi, and we've got my friend.
Sharon. I can't wait to see you. We have to tell me when my appointment is, but
Yeah, and we've got a good friend of mine named Jared. He's a amazing artist, super talented. At some point, I'm going to get him on here. He lives all the way across the country, but man,
oh,
one of the
nice.
most talented people I've ever met. We're also going to be doing a podcast together as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, so um, well, I love the collaboration piece. Um, outside of kind of the realtor stuff, this kind of been more of a staple question here in this since we started this stories worth telling series. If there was no limitations on time, commitment, kids, training, money, whatever it is, what would what would uh what would the dream uh what would be your big dream? What would be something that you would want to do, or what kind of lifestyle would you live, stuff like that.
Oh, man. um, I think that, well, it's funny that's had me really, this whole COVID thing has had me thinking about a lot of things. I know now for sure I am not a binge watch person. My dad called me and was like, "You got to watch the show before the 90 days, 90 Day Fiance." I'm like, "Really, Dad? You're watching that?" Well, anyway, I loved it, but it took me 3 weeks to get through it.
Hmm.
I don't know how to do that. So it wouldn't be binge watching Netflix. I know that. That's for sure. I would say probably, I could say the cliche thing of living by the beach and, things like that. Of course, go on unlimited vacations. I love going on vacation. I don't have any desire to travel to any other countries, which is kind of weird, except, well, like Europe. Everybody wants to go to Europe. I just don't. I don't know what no, I want to go to like tropical islands and stuff and just
Mm,
but
nice.
I would say ultimately, though, I would say to never have any conflicts. I know you said no with my kids, but my kids are my life. And I would say to never have scheduling conflicts ever when it comes to my kids cheer and dance. And
Mm,
everybody should know about me that I will never miss my kids' events. But sometimes, when I'm going into practice or, pick them up or whatever, like sometimes I just want to be able to sit and talk to the other moms and soak in that, cheer mom or dance mom, not like the show, but kind of relate to them and not always be distracted by work or other things, just to
yeah.
kind of moment more. And I know this is so just like probably not the answer you're looking for.
No, this is great because I love the fact that that's your emphasis, that
Yes,
it's
and I feel like I'm not always there. I feel like
sure.
sometimes I'm like, oh, I got to call this person back and I got to do this and hurry up, get your shoes, we got to go.
Mm,
I want to be more chill and to be able to enjoy. And I also coach rec cheer. So to be able to do more with that and just be more involved in, my daughter Bria, she's my 8-year-old. She's an all-star cheerleader at 8 years old and very into it. And then Skylar, she'll be 6 tomorrow. She's a competitive dancer, and it takes up a lot of my time. I'm
sure.
always running around and rushing and hurry up. We got to get here. We got to get there. And I just want to be like chill. You know,
Mm.
I'm just going to do
Yeah,
it.
just to be able to soak up in the moment and enjoy being there, or maybe not have to worry. So, no, I think that says a lot, kind of in some ways for some people, they're watching this and they're like, it's a good problem to have. And, but I think it's always going to be, that's always the struggle of a business owner, is the work-life balance, because we don't have that set schedule of clocking in, clocking out. I mean, it just never ends,
No,
you
it
know?
really doesn't end
So,
at all. I was talking to a client last night, 10:30 at night.
yeah.
So, and a lot of people, and I will say this is a huge misconception for being a realtor. And this is what I thought going into it as well, that, oh, I can make my own schedule and be there for my kids more. And this is why I have a team. And this is why I love my team so much. They're always there for me.
Mm,
Someone is always there for me. And that means the absolute world to me because I have to be there for my kids. But I don't ever want to, I don't like to worry about it. And
Yeah.
of course, I have a husband, but whatever. Um,
Hey, Father's Day is coming up next month,
well,
so
I know, but he can't cover my showings for me. So whatever.
he's just my husband.
I know. And I also too, money is a big, budgeting for. I would have been in Disney World this weekend
Mm,
or last weekend for Bria's summit competition, but of course it all got canceled. Blah blah blah.
right.
But I also want to be able to not have to worry about paying for any of that ever again, and
Sure.
to bless other people on the team that may struggle, and like, hey, I'll pay for your plane tickets. Like that's my goal. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to be able to help other people. I will pay for your plane ticket. I will help you with this. I will help you with that. That's like that would be a dream come true to me. And but yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying though, a common misconception. I like started that thought and then
Yeah.
forgot. Sorry. Common misconception with being a realtor is that you make your own schedule. Or with Patrick too. I go over there and get my nails done at all hours of the day. And Sharon is like, well, he's upstairs on a call or he's out at a meeting or whatever. There's no specific time that I'm over there that he's always doing this. And it is true, your schedule depends on other people's needs. If somebody wants me to come to a listing appointment at noon on Thursday, I have to make it happen. So
Mhm.
if my kid is like, oh, I'm sick, I'm be like, all right, well, someone's gonna watch her. Of course, there's those clients. It depends on how well you know people. But if this is your first impression that you're already rescheduling,
Mm,
they're probably not going to go with you. You see what I'm saying? So you want
definitely.
to make sure that you have to be at the beck and call of your clients.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's super important. One of the things that I'm slowly learning is you kind of teach people how to treat you,
Mhm.
um, which is, man, that's a hard lesson to learn, right? Because you want to be available, you want to be the best version of yourself. But if you're running yourself to the point where you're exhausted and you're tired and you're not going on good sleep, you're not being the very best version of yourself for your clients.
No.
If you don't have maybe a good work-life balance and now you're having arguments with your spouse and you're stressed out about that, as much as you want to leave it there, I mean, it's now especially with the COVID stuff, you can't leave work at home because your work is at home, you know?
And I got to teach my kids too.
So um so it is a fine balance, and I think that's probably going to be a struggle for a while. Luckily there are people like Lauren, where her business is to teach us how to declutter not only our homes but our minds and scheduling and things like that. And then obviously we have I'm sure that you have some good mentors that you can reach out to, and then you'll also be in that resource for your staff as well. So I love that that you recognize that early, because a lot of people will kind of go through that whole burnout process. I'm guilty of it. There's plenty of times when, like last night, I was working on some initial quotes till about 10:30, and then some servicing till about and close to about 1:30 in the morning. There's days where I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing stuff, and I'll go back to sleep for like another hour. I mean, it just
I know.
it's a different mentality and a different mindset than maybe having that set schedule. But man, the rewards of being an entrepreneur, of being able to say, you know what, today I'm good, just
I
uh
know. I've been trying to say, well, on Mother's Day, I did kind of ignore my email that day. I was like, you know what? But at least I did have two clients email me and they were like really sensitive about it. They were like, hey, I know it's Mother's Day. Don't reply today, but I just didn't want to forget to tell you this. I'm like,
sure.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I saw it, but I didn't reply. And you have to have that discipline, to say, and that's the thing, I feel relationships are huge in this industry, especially a lot of people. There's a document with the realtor called the buyer's agency. And
Hmm.
everybody always teaches you, before you take people out, go get a buyer's agency, blah, blah, blah. I actually get in trouble a lot because I forget to have a buyer's because I just don't. I am so confident in my relationship with people that I don't feel like I don't even think about having them sign a contract to work with me. If
Sure.
they'd sign it, but I want somebody to trust me before I say, okay, sign this piece of paper so you're bound to me. If
Right.
you don't like me, then cool, we won't work together.
Sure.
I'm not everyone's cup of tea, obviously. I'm from the East Coast, so there are people that are, but most people get along with me pretty well. And I feel that's a huge piece of it where you can say, not today, Susie. I can't actually did have a client named Susie. I love her to death. But, not today. I can't do it today. It's Mother's Day. I'm putting my foot down. I'm not doing anything.
Sure.
And I think people respect when you set those boundaries. They do. And if they don't, then they're not meant to be your client.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. Well, and when I launched the business, I same concept. I basically said, I make myself available for my clients. So I have and what I was really trying to convey is that, like, most agencies will kind of sit back in their office, and the running joke in insurance is that you only, if you want your agent to go to work, you either get starting with new business or at cancellation. So there's a correlation and kind of in between there that's missing. And so I was running some statistics. I'm a big stats guy.
Mhm.
And four phone calls a year is more than 90% of the agents are doing in the industry right now for insurance. 4 phone calls a year, that's once a quarter.
Wow.
And that's more than 90% are doing in the industry. One phone call a year is more than what 50% of the agencies are doing in the industry. And so when I think back on that, and I have a process in place where most clients, unless they've specifically asked for it, it was a 28-day process. Now it's a 40-day process where they go, so it's still equates out to about 5.5 phone calls or touch bases per year.
Mhm.
Um, it's really crazy to see that, like, people aren't willing to maybe just focus on what they already have, and again, that's kind of like almost that whole turn and burn from the insurance industry perspective. So I think that you being able to get to that point now where you can come back into your clients and just say, hey, you know what, I have to be the very best version of myself for you. And so oftentimes that means that is that quality work-life balance, because, and people respect that because now they understand that, what, hey,
Mhm.
this person can do it and they're very successful. They're selling 150 homes a year and she still focuses on her kids and family. Maybe that's something I can take. Maybe that's something I can appreciate. Maybe that's something that, maybe I can learn that from her. You know what I mean? So I love the fact, again, that your focus and emphasis is, and that you recognize some of those things, because a lot of us maybe don't realize it or get to that point until then it causes maybe the burnout phase, or that, the
Mhm.
phases of, like, how did we get to this point? You know what I mean? So,
Well, and there are days when I'm like,
of course. So, of course.
it's just nonstop, go, 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 go. And you have to realize your weaknesses as far as that goes. I am a person that I'm not very organized. I don't know my numbers very well. That's why I hire people. That's why I have people that will do it, because I recognize that about myself. And I'm also being coached. KW has what's called MAPS coaches. And so my MAPS coach is a business coach. Obviously I don't need coaching in real estate. So I know I recognize and identify, here's what I need help with, help
Mhm.
me run my team to the best of my ability, help me organize myself to the best of my ability, whatever. Don't ever be afraid to reach out and say, I need help. Or, the best thing I did for myself, I think a big factor that contributes to my success is getting a coach when I very first started out.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's huge. And I think we're more open to it in today's society than we've ever been, but the numbers are still very low in terms of people, because we've grown up, a lot of us, in these environments that have, like, men, you're not allowed to show emotions or cry, and women, you're not allowed to get angry. It's just kind of all these stigmas and things that we've grown up with, because of that was what worked for our parents and our grandparents, and so there's a lot of these things that we're emotionally battling on a day-to-day basis. We don't necessarily maybe have a tribe that we can vent to, or people that we trust that aren't going to judge us or look at us differently. And, so it takes time to kind of build that trust to be able to get to that point where you can even share some of those things. But the fact that there are people that exist that basically their sole focus and their careers and their jobs are focused around making people better, bettering themselves, finding that balance and stuff like that. So I think that's a huge point that you've been able to kind of touch base on. And, thank you for sharing that. I think there's a lot of people that maybe need to hear that, especially in the business world. Because social media has kind of trained us to basically put our best foot forward all the time, and I know that you do a really good job of, you can't really hide your emotions as a person. But the fact that you are willing to kind of put some of that stuff out there, I think I learned from you, I remember a post, God, must have been a couple of months ago, where you talked about that vulnerability and how maybe you took it more personal, that somebody else had basically decided to use somebody else after you'd invested a lot of time and kind of even got their initial buy-in, didn't do the agreement, and all those things. But to know and understand that, those were real emotions, that those are something that you're experiencing along in your journey, but people are able to kind of understand that, like, look, she's just as real as we are. We all struggle, and ours just happens to be in a different type of industry. And the support and love that you got from your clients, from your peers, from people in the community, all that stuff, I think was able to kind of, but it's that realness that, that people can connect with, that you don't necessarily see in a lot of people. So,
well, and I, I had this conversation with people the other day that my sellers were getting frustrated because of the way the market is, and I completely agree. And people were, putting in a contract and backing out pretty easily, and it was frustrating to all of us, and them rightfully so, of course. And I had this conversation with them, and they're like, well, but you always, what's with all the other people that you get under contract so fast? And I said to them, I'm like, not everything on social media is, whatever you see is not always the truth. Not that I lie on my social media, but you don't know the story behind how I got that under contract, or how, and I even told them, I said, one of the ones I posted last week had gone under contract 3 times because of COVID nonsense. And, people get new jobs and people losing their jobs and they lose their finance. I mean, it's very real. And I told them that, and I said, obviously, and that told me something. It told me that I think I need to tell more stories about not always, oh, look, everything is great and got under contract, yada, yada, yada. But also, okay, this is under contract, but here's the story of what happened. Because it's not always rainbows and sunshine. It's just nice.
Have you thought about ever taking and sharing some of those stories? Not necessarily putting your client's information out there or anything like that, but maybe just explaining the process of, like, look, guys, what you see is the results. It's a product of hard work, and because I think one of the biggest trends that I've seen, at least, with some videographers that I work with and stuff like that, is a lot of the videos that they had that got a lot of shares or a lot of views, they actually got more views of people being and interested in seeing the behind work of how it came to be. So what they started doing was filming themselves, doing these other things. And people were more interested in the behind scenes to understand how it came to be. The video came out cool, so they liked that, but they were interested and they were more engaged to see how that process came to be. So, what I'm thinking is, like, because you have a team, because you have, Jesse, that might be that could be something that could be really good for you, is to be able to start filming, and kind of docking some of the process of how it came to be, and being able to put that together, and just being able to have a bigger celebration for everybody once that is complete, with the people that are involved and stuff like that. Again, I'm just kind of thinking out the box here.
I mean, and I told them too, and I tell sellers this all the time. I'm like, you'll see realtors, and and I've done it too, saying like, hey, this got under contract in one day, blah, blah, blah. And it's great. It's a celebration. It got under contract in one day. And I don't really like to post, oh, I got them $20,000 over asking price. You know, I got somebody $25,000 over asking price recently.
Wow.
And here's how, though. Not because a huge misunderstanding is, oh, they got this under contract fast, they must be a great realtor. Depends. They could be because they priced it right and got it under contract fast, or they just took the first offer that came along because they want a commission check. Could be either one. I never know which one. But
Sure.
to me, what makes a good realtor is not necessarily how fast you get it under contract, but what did I get it under contract for? I just got a house 30 days on the market, got a full price offer. That's what matters, because I got the offer I got. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to tell you which house this is, but the offer I got was $15,000 below asking. And I called her, and I didn't even call my sellers. I was like, "You're insane. I'm not taking that offer. I am not doing that." And I went back and forth, negotiation, and I got them a full price offer. That's what makes a good realtor, right there.
Yeah.
Right there. You know the right things to say. You know how to market. Just because it's not filled with people out the door doesn't mean really a lot. It means that maybe you did price it competitively. Sometimes if someone got, oh, I got it under contract in 2 hours, look at me. I'm like, yeah, you probably underpriced it severely. So, you know, I mean, it's just such a big thing with me that I just want people to know that there are more things to being a realtor than just going and looking at houses and, you know, putting a sign in the yard. There's so much more that goes into it, and so much more that makes a good realtor, that I think I am going to do some sort of series on it. I don't know.
We'll talk. We'll talk for sure. But we've gone a little bit over in regards to the plan time. I hope that's okay with you on your schedule and stuff like that. But man, I think that you brought so much insight in regards to one, that you've proven that you can put everybody kind of on the same playing field, right? You start out as a teacher with the same questions, same concerns, and you found, the ability to blow it out the water. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Obviously, nobody can argue with the results. And you're getting your clients to continuously give you more referrals. You know what I mean? So that's, I think that itself showcases that you have a proven and a really good method, and that you're doing things well. The fact that you have team members who have been sticking through you through thick and thin. Obviously, we know there's a lot of turnover, a lot of team switching throughout the industry. But the fact that you have people who have been with you from the beginning and are still there, that also talks a lot. So honestly, guys, if you are tuning in, if you're watching this, if it's maybe later that you get a chance to watch this, I'm going to go ahead and post up the information here for the Dream Big Home Team again. And definitely take these numbers, take this Facebook address, take the email, reach out to them. I know Kerri well enough where she's willing to take information from you and basically kind of go over what she can when it fits her schedule and stuff like that. But highly encourage you guys to get into the mindset and to reach out to the people that we're bringing on here, because they obviously are doing things correctly. They're doing things right. And I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. So if you're looking to get into real estate, if you are in real estate, maybe you're struggling, or maybe you're not hitting those numbers and those goals, reach out, and so as we kind of wrap this up here today, for anybody that maybe is looking at maybe not necessarily real estate, but entrepreneurialism, or maybe people who are in business for themselves and things like that, what is some advice, or maybe what are some of the struggles that have been the most teachable moments and things like that you would basically tell somebody?
I would say that probably the biggest piece of advice I can give you is know the industry you're going into. Don't expect, just because this person, did this well, means that I can do the same. You have to have that drive and get with the right people in order to be successful in any industry. And that's just, I think, the most important piece of advice. I've had lots of people that have seen what I can do, and they're like, "Oh, I want to be a realtor. It looks so easy." And I sit down with them and I'm like, let me tell you a story. It's not that easy all the time. I promise. There is so many things to it that people need to know. It costs a lot of money to be a realtor, but if you have the drive and you have the motivation, you can be successful. But you have to know that it is not going to be, we jump in and go for it. You have to expect that there's going to be struggles along the way.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for that. Guys, I can't thank you enough for tuning in, as always. Again, if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, go ahead and just hit that subscribe button, because we are going to be bringing people on consistently. Right now, we're doing 2 a week, and we're also going to do check back videos. So a year from now, 6 months from now, we're going to be bringing people like Kerri back on to just kind of talk about the growth process. How has things evolved and changed? What are some new things that you can teach us? And so it's just going to be a great series especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you're looking for inspiration, motivation. And tomorrow we will be live with Alex Yoder. He is considered to be one of the top property managers with Dorman Properties here. So we'll have him tomorrow. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you yourself are interested in joining in this and sharing your story, reach out via Facebook. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Take care.
Thank you.